Webtoon. People ask me all the time, just kidding, no one asks me at all what I watch for Webtoon. But I thought since there was one or two people I know in the comments section who do watch or not watch, read Webtoon. I keep calling watch. I thought I'd talk about it and kind of talk about my own experiences on Webtoon. What I would suggest would be some of the starting Webtoons that you should read, depending on your mood. As you can see here, you can look at this subscribed list, and as I scroll down really slowly, this is all series that I am reading. You can gauge two things. You know two things from me, and this is the Canvas stuff, which is a lot of. You can gauge three things actually, not two, three things. First and foremost, there's a lot of BL in the Canvas. Number two, I don't have a life because all I do is read Webtoons as it says with the amount that I have. Oh my god, I actually have so many. And the last is that, the third and last thing is that, if you need a Webtoon recommendation, I've probably read it, or I know about the Webtoon. And I have a wide variety of Webtoons I've read, from romance to action to mystery to isekai type stuff with gods and goddesses and all sorts of shit. One of the first Webtoons that I want to talk about is Purple Hyacinth. I think this is just it's a good starter pack. It's a good starter Webtoon. And you follow Lauren and Kyrian, which are the people in this picture. Lauren being the girl, just in case people didn't know, and Kyrian being the guy, right? Lauren is like a cop, basically, like a cop for the land of Ardelis, if I correctly pronounce that. And she has the ability to, tell if people are lying when they're talking to her, and they can tell if they're lying if they're by basically she sees their words in red. Like, for example, he's lying, so you can see that his words are in red, right? And she's trying to basically take down like this fucking mafia crime boss organization called the Phantom Scythe. There's a lot of issues with that, and so she has to work with Kyrian, our little murder boy here, who is also known as the Purple Hyacinth because he is one of the most famous assassins that's ever worked for the Phantom Scythe. And, they have to work together as they try to solve mysteries, kick ass, and take down the fucking Phantom Scythe from within, as well as deal with all the political consequences that are happening throughout the city. This series is a very slow burn series, and it's about adding a lot of different cogs and wheels to it, and then you start to add more to the lore, more to the mystery, and more to what's going on. The art's amazing. I mean, you just see this. I mean, the guy's hot, right? Let's be honest here. The art's really, really well done. The shadowing is really good. There's sometimes music that you get, all sorts of stuff. I think this is a very, very good Webtoon. Let's go! Alright, so this is a straight BL shonen okay? So, you can't get a video of Webtoon without talking about a BL. Castle Swimmer is a BL. It's fish. So, it's not exactly furryism, it's fishism. It's not furries, it's fishies. Such a fucking terrible joke. And, you got Kappa. You got Kappa and Shark Boy here. God, I can't remember his name. Shark Boy and Kappa. Kappa being the one on the right. Basically, Kappa, really the most important is Kappa. Kappa has the ability to basically fulfill prophecies, right? And the issue is when he's trying to fulfill the prophecies, it never really goes right for him. So a lot of times it kind of fails, and he gets into a lot of trouble because of it. And so he meets his boyfriend, Siren. I fucking got his name. His name is Siren. And he goes to the shark people who are being inflicted by this hellish curse that basically causes them to have such extremely terrible luck, like dying, gouging out their eyes, becoming amputated, all sorts of shit. So It's really sad. And the issue is the prophecies that each of these different races of fish have aren't always fully fulfilled by Kappa, or there's some sort of weird catch that makes Kappa basically useless. And so now Siren has to decide, does he want to be with his boyfriend Kappa? Simple as that. So this is LX Seed, and it is a webtoon that is about 140 chapters deep, if I'm correct. And 114. I'm sorry, 114 chapters deep. And what's so interesting about this anime, this webtoon, is that it's what God of High School could have been in terms of action, art, and storytelling, but it's not, right? Because it's better than God of High School. I have a deep hatred for God of High School. I think it is a waste of time, and I don't think it's a good show, or webtoon. I'm sorry, I call webtoons shows for some reason. And I think Elixir is what is great about action in a webtoon format that God of High School can never achieve, because it actually has a consistent story. It doesn't it doesn't run into the same problems as God of High School, where you have arcs that go on and on and on and on and on, in a story where it feels like it should have finished. Then the author just fucking adds some Deus Ex Machina shit to keep the story for it. And a very long rant about why I don't like God of High School. I could probably make a whole video about why I dislike God of High School, but I don't want to reread the webtoon to have to make that video. So, too bad. So we follow our main duo, Jiwoo the boy and Kaden the cat. Well, Kaden is actually this very powerful user of awakened powers, one known as the Awakened, and Jiwoo is also an Awakened. So in this world, there are these individuals known as Awakened who have superpowers and shit, and they're secretive to society, and they can use all sorts of shit. Like Kaden can transform into a cat and use fucking electricity powers. Jiwoo that you saw before, Jiwoo's able to use fucking lightning fast speed, and is starting to be basically taught by Kaden, who is extremely hurt, which is why Kaden turned into a cat. And it's just a fun, lighthearted action with amazing art, especially when there's the big action scenes. This is just a little taste of it, a little taste of the art, because it gets pretty insane as there's the bigger fights as the stakes get higher. Unlike God of High School, where the art is the only thing that you can really compliment about it. With this, the story is good, the characters are good, the character development is good. You got our soft boy Jiwoo, and the art is just the cherry on top that makes this such a great webtoon for people just to start. For action, this is just a pure action. It's not like Purple Hyacinth. Purple Hyacinth is slow. Elixir is fucking fast. It goes fast. Action, with a lot of comedic moments, friendly building moments, and it's not as deep and intricate as something like Purple Hyacinth, but I think it's just a great shonen as a general rule. This is one of my favorite webtoons of all time. You don't need to know any other character other than Dr. Frost, because that's what the webtoon's called. It's called Dr. Frost. I think this is a webtoon classic, a webtoon masterpiece, and it is, in my opinion, a masterpiece of a webcomic in the making, right? This webtoon was created by a psychologist, and it follows Dr. Frost, who is a psychologist, basically. And he basically takes on cases where he will help people through certain psychological issues. Dr. Frost comes in, and he's this super smart, super intelligent individual who can't actually emotionally connect to his patient. So he has to use just his knowledge, which is a lot. He is a brilliant psychologist, but he can't emotionally empathize with his patient. So he has to use his logic and other techniques, and very experimental and possibly even dangerous techniques in certain cases, for the mental well-being of patients in order to help them. And what's so interesting about this webcomic is that it really focuses heavily on actual psychology, right? So like the author was a trained psychologist, and he actually has like concepts and ideas from psychology within his webtoon, which makes it such an interesting read, because you don't get a lot of comics as a general rule which can literally say like, hey, this comic is like very accurate to what you would see in certain psychology and what certain psychologists might do, or it might take liberties from it, but it is still heavily influenced by what actual psychology does. So you learn a lot of stuff in the webtoon about like different tests and treatments that psychologists do. So it's such an interesting read. Let me tell you, this author does actually consult experts in the field of psychology, like legit, and he has it at every end of each episode that he does of like who he doesn't. And in season 3 we get to look at, it's a little spoiler, minor spoiler, but it won't tell you much. You actually get to see a hospital ward for basically people who are suffering from mental illness, because in South Korea that's still a thing, unlike in America and in many other Asian countries. A lot of times patients are put into mental wards, and it's very interesting to see the dynamics there. I didn't think I was going to talk about this series because I just finished it today. I didn't finish it, I caught up to it today. Season 3's first episode came out today. But I finished this series in 2 days. Caught up to it. 145 episodes. Caught up to it 2 days. This is I think a classic and a masterpiece fucking waiting to happen. It is indescribable to tell you how the plot unfolds, because even now I don't even quite understand what the fuck is going on in this webtoon. I can't even come to express what happens and the level of intricacy that the author has for giving you foreshadowing of events, and the intricacy of the plots, as well as to make sure there's no plot holes, and as well as the beautiful art. So we follow and this is called Room of Swords. We follow our boy Gyrus here. Gyrus, I don't know how to say his name. Gyrus, and he wakes up without really remembering anything on this planet. And he thinks that he's gonna die on this planet, so he starts to scout out all these areas because he thinks there's no oxygen on here. And so he's scouting out all of these areas to try to figure out what he has to do to survive. And as he walks and everything, he starts to meet new people and individuals. I don't want to spoil it. Don't read the synopsis. Read the synopsis after the first maybe 24 chapters, I would say. Because I think the synopsis spoils stuff in the webtoon that I didn't even realize until I started reading the webtoon. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Let's just say there's some time travel elements. Certainly there are some gay shit going on in here. We gotta love our gay shit. The yaoi king, come on. I'm a Fudanshi and yaoi king. Let's be honest here, okay? I smell a yaoi when I see one. I came into this webtoon, saw some of the characters. I won't tell you who. Literally in that one episode that I saw them, was like, they're gay for each other. They're gonna be the thing. Was I right? I was right. There's some gay shit. There's some lesbian shit. There's some bisexual shit. You're gonna like it either way, okay? If you also want a little bit of yaoi, there's a lot of yaoi. There's a lot of action and some beautiful art. Like for example, throughout the series, you might get gifs like this, right? Where I don't know how. I think this only can really be done on webtoons. Where on webtoons you can actually like do like slight animations, like gifs a little bit. Through the app. So you can see here, look at that. There's movement there. There's movement here. Look at this. Look at this. This is insane when you think about it. And when you're reading it, it's insane, because what you'll see is when there's action scenes, this shit becomes insane. There's like actual like fight scenes, and there's like actual like almost like animation quality stuff coming out. And there's some scary shit in here too, let's just say, and you get to see it all. And this is just an example. I mean, every episode has multiple gifs that occur, and those are just 2 of the most recent ones from episode 2. Look at that, right? It's insane. Just the level of detail of art. There's great music in here. The level of intricacy of detail in this webtoon is insane, with both story as well as art, and it's insane. I finished reading it a couple hours ago, or caught up to it. caught up to it. And I don't know how to describe it in any way. And I think people need to give this series a go. This is such an underrated series. Webcomics is a medium that needs to be explored more. And I think people should give it a try. And a lot of times webcomics are basically put behind a paywall. But Webtoons doesn't do that, which is why I always suggest reading Webtoons. Because Webtoons, especially if you're English speaker, you get Webtoons from Spanish speaking countries, from English, from Koreans, from Chinese, all sorts of stuff, and they'll all be translated to English. And so we get a wide variety of comics. And it's just such a shame that there's not enough people talking about Webtoons, which is why I wanted to make this video. Thank you very much.